Yeah, we'll call this meeting to order. Can you please stand with me in the pledge of allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, thank you very much. We'll start with the roll call. Kenny?
Here.
Guy?
Here.
Jeff? Here. Nate? Here. And Derek is here. Next up, we're going to public comment. We've got a few folks signed up tonight. Just a reminder, you have up to 3 minutes to speak to something not on the agenda. The board, we can respond back to the non-agenda items. We'll take that into your insight into consideration. So we'll start off with Wayne Hackler.
Hi, as you heard, my name is Wayne Hackler, and for nearly a decade, I coached the rec soccer program. To learn that the rec soccer program, which we have beginning in 4K, running through 4K, no longer fits within the vision of Fall River athletics, was pretty surprising to me. Childhood soccer provides numerous benefits that can be applied across different sports. Physical development, coordination, body mastery, all that is accelerated and started earlier because they're doing it at an earlier age. Their balance is a bit better. Their vision, they start to develop a vision. They start to learn to anticipate. They first work as a unit, as a team. They start to learn personal responsibilities. And it's from the age of 4 years old. As far as their health goes, they begin to improve their cardiovascular and muscular endurance far sooner, which makes them superior athletes at an earlier age. There's a lot more benefits that I won't be able to go into at the time. But the most important thing from them playing soccer is while they're learning all these life lessons, they're having fun. They don't know that they're learning. And that's what it's supposed to be first. And the more important thing about them being in any rec activity, sports, soccer, whatever, is that our job is not so much to teach them how to do the sport. Any idiot can do that. Our job is to teach these to help make them better people, leaders in our community. And I thought that I was successful doing that with the soccer program. I'm imploring you not to deny these kids these opportunities for growth and advancement just because it doesn't meet some nebulous athletic vision. I have to notice the irony that with kickball being offered, that meets the athletic vision. It doesn't escape me, please. Now, I know that I rubbed a lot of people wrong because of my coaching techniques. They're not like other people's. And I'm inflexible with them, but that's because they work. I don't coach like other sports in the United States do. I coach my way because it works, and it's specifically for soccer. It's the way they do it all over the world. Now, I know that I probably rub people wrong, and that's to be expected. But I don't want anybody has a beef with me for whatever reason. That's fine. I'm a big boy and I can deal with it. But I do not want these kids to suffer because of it. Thank you.
Thank you, Wayne. Next up, we have James Palmier.
I think I agree with the soccer. That's why I came here, because I really liked it. It was like the one sport that I really liked since I thought that like most of the other sports were like a bit dangerous for me, but soccer wasn't really that dangerous to me. And I think that a lot of kids like soccer, and we should, I guess, I think it's good for kids to have a bit more like options to choose from, and I think kids should get like some more opportunities to do different sports.
Thank you very much for sharing. Next up, Next up, we have Sterling. Sterling.
Hello, my name is Sterling St. Germain, and I'm here for the very same reason that everyone else might be here. I want to say that some people have put out forms or stuff on computers that aren't true, like that soccer is canceled. That's why I'm here. I think we should have soccer again at Fall River. And with the very same coach, because we beat the other team by 14 points. It was 14-0. So I'd like to say I really want soccer again. Possible as soon as we can do it.
Thank you, Sterling. Next up, we have Pat St. Germain.
Yes, I will be the brain department. So I own a clinic that's based in not symptoms, but the root of issues. And so one of the things I don't want to speak too difficultly. We are seeing something I noticed at my clinic, so I called the East Coast and said, are you seeing the same thing I'm seeing? Which means because of the COVID pandemic, I noticed in the EEGs, we were seeing high amplitudes of delta, which should be a sleep cycle, 2 to 6 revolutions a minute. Right now, we're seeing about 25 revolutions a minute of delta. So if the average student and all of you are producing more delta than you did prior to COVID, that means we're having greater attention issues, greater frustration, greater suicidal ideation, greater cutting. All of the problems that we're seeing in society is across the board in the US. So I compared what I had with EEGs to the East Coast and other people across the US, and we're seeing the same. So the problem is, I'm like, shoot, what do we do? So one of the biggest concerns I have is a great answer is an SSRI, or actually soccer. Sorry, guys. One of the problems that I have is I work with high-end athletes. Often they wind up being sort of top Division I kiddos in the state. A lot of times they have high anxiety. We know kids burn out from sport after 6 years. So what do we do as parents? We want our kids to go to college. We put them in a sport. But kindergarten, and within 6 years, a lot of those kids burn out. Soccer here has been great because it's a good intro sport. It's good for kids who can't have the hand-eye coordination yet. We're getting some of the feet, the gross motor skills, but also it is excellent for executive functioning, and it's the top of all sports for executive functioning. People don't realize that. Some of the top soccer players across the world have the highest IQs. Now, what came first, the chicken or the egg? We don't know. However, that there's been research following individuals who play soccer, and it found that improves executive functioning. Why is that important right now? Because delta, elevated delta in the frontal and left part of the brain, and theta cause attention issues. So how much is the school dealing with attention issues, suicidality, and all this other stuff? It correlates a lot of pieces within the brain and will change delta itself. So kickball, you mentioned kickball. Kickball is phenomenal, but it does not activate the feet like constant soccer and executive functioning. When I looked at the research for kickball, it's phenomenal for an intro sport for softball and baseball. Now, the kids who tend to play soccer do not tend to want to play softball and baseball, often because there are problems with their vision. 20% of kids in schools and adults have issues with vision, which is teaming and tracking. So these are the kids, when you watch them play kickball, he's playing kickball, by the way, they can't catch the ball, they're afraid of it, they close their eyes, and you think repetition. That is not it. It's how the eyes work together. You can also look at all the art projects. Anybody who's at a slant has these kind of issues. Actually, an easy way to fix it is to have soccer. So if the vision of this school is to continue to develop reading and math skills and continue to excel at the state level, one of the biggest mistakes they made is removing the one sport that can do that easily better than an SSRI. So I have given you tons of information. There's way more. I don't have enough time to go through my information and what I know. But what I want to say is it's a mistake not to have that as an option. And it's also a great intro sport to get kids ready when they start football to be able to read the plays and also have better understanding, a deeper understanding of football. So thank you.
Thank you very much. And next up, we have Cal Schultz.
Cal Schultz here for the rec soccer. I all know Julian, my son. He's very hyperactive, has a little bit of autism. Soccer is the one sport that kid loves, and I'll tell you one thing about that sport. It brings him home at night, and that's all he talks about. He's like, soccer, soccer. He's not a big kid. He doesn't want to play football. He can't really play football. He doesn't want to play any other sport. Soccer is his sport. It's a sport he wants to play, a sport he loves to play. I mean, that's all he asks for is soccer. And we're very glad to hear this one. And the way Coach Wayne, coaches, is phenomenal. He's good with the kids. At the same time, he also teaches them that you don't get rewarded if you lose. If you win, you get rewarded. That's the way most of us in here probably were brought up. I know that's the way I was raised. And I feel that, Fall River, we have the ability to have the soccer. You have the brand new soccer field up there, you just put in, we could use. So that's all I ask.
Thank you very much. Thank you for your public comments, everyone. Next up, we do have the student council update.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Julia. I'm a senior in student council, and recently we've been looking at like homecoming activities and just homecoming is our main priority right now. So far this week, we do dress up days, and then the games like dodgeball, Macho Man, Powder Puff, and then Friday, we have class competitions. That's this Saturday. Winter, we usually do a glow ball as a fundraiser. I think this year is more of like a winter formal type dance. Because more people are interested in showing up to that than a glow ball. Do you have anything?
Hi, I'm a freshman, so I'm kind of like new to this, but yeah, no, I'm kind of uneducated on all of what city council does still, but yeah, basically everything that she said, we've been working really hard on together, and just
Oh yeah, the theme for homecoming was seasons, so each grade was given a season, chose a season to do. And so during last hour of the day, kids are going out to the bus barn and working on like floats to have in the parade tomorrow, and then banners to hang up, I think at the complex for skit night also tomorrow. And then skits as well.
What time is skit night tomorrow? What time is the parade?
6, I believe, is when the parade starts, and then we'll all meet up at the complex after that. I think that's it.
Any questions for student council? All right, thank you very much. Good luck with all the homecoming festivities.
Thank you.
Holly, do you have anything extra for celebrate? Is that?
Yeah, no, we've had a good turnout with dress up days, and folks are really coming along. We started on Sunday. The kids worked for 3 hours, and then like Julia said, during win as well. So I think we'll have some really great folks. Hopefully have some skits. Yeah, freshmen already got okay, so that was awesome. Banners are something new. We used to do billboards. It kind of was replacement of holiday decorating because fire code and stuff like that. So that kind of got changed and it's been evolving since then. So the billboards used to be big pieces of plywood, which are kind of heavy and make it difficult to get up at the complex to display our school spirit. So we decided to try to do banners this year so that way we can tie them onto the fence. We invited Rio. I talked to their student council advisor to see if they were interested in the idea as well, so that they could put their banners up from each of the classes, so it looks more homecoming like when our community comes to the game on Friday night. So they should be up there, at least the Fall River ones will be up there for tomorrow night, like Julia said, and then we'll get the rival ones up there as well. We gotta figure out maybe where we wanna put them just yet, because it is a new thing, but again, hopefully it'll have more homecoming like spirit, representing the theme and, the rebel and the pirate as well.
We kind of had them combine the student council with Celebrate Our Kids together, so that was kind of two in one.
Any pitches for the game Friday?
Huh?
Any pitch for the game Friday?
Any pitch?
Yeah, like any.
I'm going down and getting 120 Chick-fil-A sandwiches. So I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's what's up.
I hope we win and come get Chick-fil-A.
That's the only reason my daughter's coming. She wants Chick-fil-A.
So I sold out last time. We sold out before, I think, first quarter. Oh, yeah. A lot of other things as well, but really we want to stay in touch.
Thank you very much. So I wrapped up the Celebrate Fall and that with that, festivities. All right, so next up, we have a discussion, possible action on school board meeting minutes from the August 17th, 2022 regular school board meeting.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes for the August 17th regular school board meeting. I will second that.
We have a motion by Jeff, second by Nate. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries. Next up is the approval to accept the treasurer's report.
So you've got the common two sheets in your packet for the judge's report. 2 months in, you don't have a whole lot of data, but it's very similar to what we had last year. Not much difference. As this year goes, we'll probably see a little bit of difference. Because last year there's so much COVID money being spent. So some of our numbers are going to look different this year as we go through the first months compared to last year, because a lot of COVID money has been spent early in the year last year. But right now, there's not a large difference between the two as far as the amount of money that's come in or been expended.
Take a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the treasurer's report. I'll second it.
We have a motion by Nate, second by Guy to approve the treasurer's report. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries. Next up, I'll make the motion to accept payroll for 9/30/2022 and 10/14/2022 and vouchers 423364 to 423465 and 2022000035 to 2022000058 in the amount of $307,543.53.
I will second that.
We have a motion by Derek, second by Nate. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries. Next up, we have some gifts and donations.
So, we had the registration fees were again donated and covered for students that needed it from VFW. Letter B, there was a $1,000 donation made to the FCX program, and that was from the food pantry, and their goal, their idea behind it was using that program to help teach children to be able to use food well, cook food well. The analogy that was made was trying to teach our children to fish instead of just always, just giving it out, trying to help them learn how to do that on their own. Napa Auto Parts donated some Napa Tracks, which is Napa Tracks is a software program as well as an automatic manual access program to our tech ed department. Lisa Clark donated an ice machine for the staff lounge. And then Carl Bank, we'll talk to, I promise, staff, I know, donated $600 for the trap team. It was for supplies and ammunition. There was a $1,000 donation made from PPO, specifically to help get all of our concession stands equipped equally so that we were able to provide similar products for our fans.
And then they also donated $1,000 for a Tom Farley seminar for the 6 through 12 students, but I'm gonna let Ryan just share a little bit about that because he went to the wellness conference and saw him speak.
Yeah, so Tom, is related to Chris Farley. Tom was a great presenter, he gave examples of just his own life experience. And growing up with Chris and what they saw in the family, and kind of what he learned through that. Between the ups, the goods and bads and everything in between, but then also had really like concrete, almost basic, simple ideas of how you can help students in a large group presentation type atmosphere type things he does to teach kids about their own mental health and how to bring kids, one, to recognize that, and then two, how to process through that. So it's our hope to bring him in. We are gonna bring him in with this donation. I think he'll be a great speaker for our students. It's nice to just have that other voice. And we'll also, we're talking today, I think we have to make with some of our students a connection to who was Chris Farley, but we'll certainly happily do that.
In a school program.
Correct.
Is there a date that you have that he's coming in?
November.
That's.
He is coming. November 18th, so Friday.
You got rough time
He'll be here, I believe it's all day,
all day.
yeah. So he's gonna do a big presentation, and then I believe he's doing smaller ones, so I don't, that's not 100% next week, but that's what I understand. And then letter G, the last one, we wanted to also make sure we thank Good Vibrations and Sweet Sensations for the food supplies that they donated, to our school.
Thank you very much, and we'll, I'm sure, get the thank yous out there and note them in the newsletter. I think that's a huge testament to speak to how supportive our community and surrounding community is to not only those big pieces like the wellness conference, the seminar there, but also the day-to-day operations that really give our kids a great education. So
I may just add to the concession thing, because Holly, who was here, and Amy Liebenthal are now running concessions. And they're doing they put together a plan of how we can have similar concessions at every event. So all events, people know they can come and get popcorn, hot dog, pizza, not just candy bars and soda. So all the events in the school, at the Prairie Street for football and track, but also baseball, softball, we're trying to equip all 3 concession stands equally. So they all have their own equipment and we don't have to haul back and forth, which damages stuff, and that they can actually have consistent concessions at many different events.
I also like to add one more piece to that. This also, ours is, it's gonna come my principal report, but a donation from PTO for our equipment and storage of equipment. There's some cars outside now where the kids can store our playground equipment. That was always an issue for us. Like after school, you go up and you're big enough hole and see balls all over the place. So that's that. Now we actually have some carts that we can roll in and out throughout the day. The kids actually enjoy throwing their stuff and they're going to pick it up and making it look nice out there, which thank the kids. And then Kelly is out there with Slack every day. They do a great job. And I think we've been talking about it. It's great help and kids really like it.
Brilliant idea. Like,
Yeah. Simple, but yeah, helpful. So thank you, DPO.
So,
On the concessions thing, are they, Holly and Amy, you said?
Yep.
Are they going for rec sports, like summer sports too, or is it just?
right now, they're school sports, right? They have thought about maybe some of the rec things. They saw an opportunity when whatever grade youth volleyball was here.
30 teams here. So
Yeah.
Time to have.
They
some
they
concessions.
saw that and go, I wonder if we could have, so I think they're starting to see how there's money to be made. And Dave Brown will take care of like the tournaments on the weekends, but I think they're starting to look at, gee, we could make some money.
Yeah, because I know at a lot of our little league games, there's a lot of money to be made there.
Yeah.
Nobody's.
And we went to a new system, which I'm used to from my old school, is everyone wanted to have the Randolph football game or whatever, because that's where the money was, or Randolph basketball game. And they got it where it's split evenly, so if there's 10 events, and your group works 2 of them, you get 20% of profits in all events. So now they've got everything covered. I mean, there were sports groups that wanted to find a basketball game to work, and everyone had signed up already. So it really got people to want to work too. So they got much more volunteers. It's just, they're off to a great start running concessions. They're probably going to expand.
There was a issue, I don't know if maybe you've already fixed it, I don't know if you heard about it. They were blowing a breaker in the concession stand down. Is that fixed? I don't know. It's all like
Brian's working on it, but part of it is they plugged into the wrong plug.
Oh, okay.
One plug that's wired for that, another one that's not. And so he's working on, or we showed also where the breaker is. It's right behind me. You can pop it, but if they get it plugged in the right spot, it's already fixed. But Brian's trying to make sure that it stays fixed.
Could we get Brian or someone to maybe label it? Cause I assume it's a crock pot or something that draws a lot.
It's a popcorn popper. And the pizza.
Popcorn, so you could,
One that they have is really old and it's drawing a lot of electricity, so they are getting in the neighbors who would have people help.
Awesome.
Brian's really good. He'll figure it out.
And he was down here this morning like 5:30 when I went to work.
Doing well.
And the breakers are your normal ones, so I was showing how to actually flip those now, so. Yeah, I would show it where you can just go.
Careful, Ryan.
You can't look at them, they're not like the normal ones that you can see that are just the flip switch. They don't look like switches actually.
Okay, I'm just giving you a hard time.
No, I don't.
Okay, good.
Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you, sir.
Next up, we're going to committee reports, and we have the policy committee tonight.
You guys want to share anything about policies?
Sure, so we got started today reviewing a policy committee. We got a nice like thick binder clip set. We go through 10 of those. We are in the first one today, which is mostly about board policy, just our specific policy, and we'll work our way through the rest. It is very comprehensive, and we'll be in a great place when it's all finished. It definitely lays out different scenarios much more clearly. So I think the district will be really well served when it's all completed. So the plan would be that we would look as a policy committee for the first reading, then we'd bring it to the full board for the second reading and point out any hey, this is what we're thinking here. Most of it is a lot of like definitions, putting statutory wording into user-friendly format. I learned some new words tonight. Indemnification was one of my new words that I learned. So been fun, but we're at the start of the journey of 10,000.
So we'll meet again at the beginning before the October meeting at 5 o'clock again, see how far we get. And once we get one of those 10 packs done, we'll get it to the whole board so they can look at it before the next board meeting. So there'll be a big packet of papers to look at, but then you can look through it and ask questions. But these two will help work with us to come up with what they think is what should it be, and then the rest of the board can have a chance to look at it. There's 2 representatives from Neola that have been working with us, and Ryan and Brian before they left. Now Jennifer and Andrea, it's like the whole group sits together and goes through these and takes Neola's recommendation, and then we pick our choices, and then these guys look at the choices we pick and say, yeah, this makes sense, that makes sense. There's like 3 of them we tweaked tonight, and we'll just keep going through those. So whenever we got one of the packets or 2 of the packets done, we'll get them to you, so you can start studying them. And they're really riveting reading for when you want to go to sleep. You can't sleep at night. But it's really nice. I think the 2 gentlemen here would say it spells out how we should be acting, how we should be doing things. And it's helpful for the 3 of us and 4 of us really, that we last year, what's the policy say? We look at 10, no policy says what to do. So it's nice to have something that backs up. You can set those policies, and then we know how you want us to handle things. But right now, he said it's really about the board. It's all we've looked at so far, how the board should act and fill board vacancies and elections and stuff. So it's a good start.
We did used to have Neola, so it is like, or we used to kind of fall under these policies and guidelines, and we switched away to something else. So went back to, so it's not like this is like totally brand new, because a lot of our behavior still fell under, I feel like, the Neola policies, but now we're just giving that the specific language. So helpful. All right, so
Just say thank you, Guy, thank you, Deb.
Absolutely. All this stuff. Next up under new business, we had discussion and possible action on early graduation requests.
We have 4 students that applied for early graduation. We have 2 that are working towards it, but we're not ready to bring that to you yet. They've got a little bit more work to do and to show, but there are 4 students in the board packet who did apply for early graduation.
We did this one motion.
Yes.
Or fourth.
Any commentary on them, or did you come
No,
up with your
so
recommendation?
they're on track, they're ready to go, I support their early graduation, Amy gave me all the transcripts to go through, a few weeks ago actually now. So yeah, they're all 4 of them are.
You want me to make one motion?
Yep, one more.
I'll make a motion to accept the 4 early graduation application.
I'll second that guy.
Motion by Guy, second by Kenny. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries. Next up is discussion on the WASB convention.
So I have.
I think we missed the co-op renewals.
I apologize. Discussion possible action on cross-country and football co-op renewals.
So I did receive communication, from Dave Brown through Dennis, that we would like to recommend that we keep up with the co-op. When we're looking at our numbers, they're providing, like, co-oping together is providing us a solid balance with our teams. We wouldn't have a cross-country team. We would have individual runners, but not a cross-country team if we were not co-oping with Rio. And then our goal right now, because we are currently co-oping, is if we're looking at our football team, if we want to remain playing with a full team, we need to make sure that, you know, we're sticking with that so that we have enough players and enough students to be able to field a team. So it is his recommendation that we would keep co-oping, and you have any other questions? Probably.
Is it how, is this like a 1 year, or are we talking 3
It's
years?
a 2-year rolling.
Okay.
So this would be we would be voting, or you would be voting tonight for the 24-25, 25-26 school years. So there, we would still be next year, this would be for the following 2 school years.
And we've got a good grasp on busing and fields and everything, everything's moving.
Yep.
I think last year that kind of got tweaked a lot and figured out how the busing was working for cross-country practice versus coming here for football. And most of the Rio kids wanted to practice on the turf field because it's just easier, better to practice on. And I think it's worked out very smoothly. And Brian Anderson, as transportation director, has got it figured out, I'd say. And when you look at the numbers that she
Yeah, I know the
has,
numbers if you
that
want that.
we're a little top heavy in the like upper levels of more Fall River kids than Rio kids. When you start going down through the grade levels, it's getting close to 50-50 of the kids playing. If you look at the youth football team, it's about, in many cases, about half Rio, half Fall River, not at every grade, but most grades. And I think we have a varsity coach this year from Rio, which we haven't had in a while, hoping that will encourage more Rio kids to play football.
What is the total number of kids on the football team right now?
Right now for JV and varsity, there's 10 Rio and 26 Fall River.
36.
Any other questions? We will take a motion.
I'll make a motion to renew the co-op for cross-country and for football.
That was second.
We have a motion by Nate, second by Jeff. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries. Next up, discussion on WASD convention.
Andrea sent you stuff about the WSB convention, January 18th to the 20th. And if you're planning on attending, the rooms fill up really quickly. She's got one from me already, but if any board members wish to attend, What I did last year is drove down Wednesday morning, stayed over Wednesday night, came back Thursday. And often I would just go for those 2 days and have one night away. I drove back down the next morning because Craig Council was speaking. Okay, I'll drive back to hear him talk. Otherwise, often I would get those 2 full days in with the night activities on Wednesday too. They basically invite all business managers, superintendents, board members, some buildings and grounds directors attend. And there's about 10 choices during each session of what you want to go see. So there's lots of different options. It's downtown Milwaukee at the Airline Center, the Wisconsin Center, whatever they call it now. It's a chance to learn, but also to meet with other people and talk to other people. I found it very valuable, and board members who've gone in the past, I think would agree with that. I don't think anyone here has attended yet. I think some people last year wanted to go, but conflicts at the last second stopped them. So.
And there's a lot of information on the WASB website. I believe they have some of the speakers listed on there in the schedule. So if you want to go look at that, you're welcome to just commute back and forth if you want. But if you do want a hotel room, they will be booked up very soon. So you have to let me know.
Thank you very much. Next up, discussion of possible action on staffing recommendations.
I'll start with the resignation, and then you guys can maybe take some of the hirings also there, but the food service, Captain Bordy resigned to take another position in another industry. We have replacements down below for her, and then John Tots had been an aide that we had accepted, and he ended up deciding not to sign a contract and not come. And that's part of the replacement in the hiring down here. So you want to take over the hiring?
Sure. We also were able to hire Tom Taylor as our middle school, high school SciEd teacher. He came to us from I know, I can't remember. Cottage Grove. So he was teaching there, and he is here. He's been doing a wonderful job. He's been a great asset to our team.
Sure. Food service assistant, we have Beverly Grossman and Rick Warner. It's nice to have both of them in the kitchen and running the kitchen at full steam. So Holly's greatly appreciated.
And we do have a sub now as well. So
Yeah,
in case anybody has to be out, we do have a sub available.
Fully staffed and a sub, which is crazy.
We had some shifting and gaining with our middle school advisors. So Krista Powers is going to be our 6th grade advisor. Adrian Shepard and Haley Schultz are moving into 7th grade. And then Hannah Lansing and Lauren Severson are going to be doing 8th grade. Krista Powers is also taking middle school forensics. Nathan Wenzel is going to be our NHS advisor. So he and I have been working closely to try to make sure we're getting NHS reestablished and for our school and for our students. Michaela Brockhoff is our guidance counselor, going to be taking access testing. So she's going to be joining on with that team. And then pep band, spring musical, and musical assistant director, and then jazz band. We need to include jazz band in there. Greg Keller is going to be doing that. And then baseball, we have with hiring Dan Burr as our head baseball coach. And then for our aide, our MASH supervisor, we hired Michelle Burns.
Any questions or discussion? No questions for me. All right, so we'll take one motion for the resignations, and we'll do separate for the hiring.
I'll make a motion to accept the resignations of Catherine Bordy and John Cox. I'll second you guys.
We have a motion by Guy, second by Kenny to approve the resignations. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries. I think we gotta accept the hiring as noted, if anybody wants, unless you want to name all of them.
Can I just ask for clarification on the hiring for the access testing services, Michaela? Is that Jenna Reese how she's doing the access testing? Well, I was wondering if this, I didn't know, that's why I don't think you guys have paid or that just,
I know.
we have 3 people really, heading that access east right now. So that's gonna be Jenna Reese, Amy, Liebenthal, and Jay Carson. That's actually.
So is that, does that need to be under discussion? Should we
Yeah,
take that one off the
Table that.
table, that one? Okay.
Table just her.
I think we need to table who it is. And then we got board next month.
So I'll make a motion to accept the hiring as noted with the exception of access testing services, which will be tabled until the next discussion.
I'll second that.
We have a motion by Jeff, second by Nate. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries. Next up is district reports.
All right, I will go first on district reports. Just pulling that up. Couple things that I had this month. First thing I wanted to just review is that I think Mr. Schultz, Jenna Reese, I've been working a lot with them in the new positions. Jenna went from first grade. She is now our Title I reading specialist, and we have Eric who moved over to special ed. Both have been doing a great job. I think both of them are open to suggestions, open to coaching, and then also take the initiative. And we'll just run with it. So I'm really impressed with both of them and their new roles. Ins and outs, I looked at our ins and outs for this school year. We had 6 students who enrolled out over the summer. Just so you're aware, 5 of those students moved out of the district, and then 1 attended a local private school. So that kind of counts for those 6 out. We had many more ins versus outs at the elementary level. During in-service, I just want to thank Kendra Hayden. During in-service week, she did a ton of work with my staff on some of the assessments and standards-based grading, along with updates to the report card, and Amy Liebenthal also been helping with that. So thank you, Amy. The staff worked really hard on updating some of our standards-based grading just so that we're tightening that up. I know we've been working out for a while with those areas that caused improve on. And so that's been very great to see us still, even though we have some things set, there's other things that we're still improving on. Jennifer and I worked on a new evaluation form for staff evaluation. One of the issues that we've had in the past with staff evaluation forms through our frontline system that was really clicky, really cumbersome. It was an online program that we used. Jennifer and I worked on that probably 2 weeks ago now, where we made it a Google form. A lot of the same stuff you'll see that was in the frontline online portion of it is now in a Google form. Still tied to teaching standards within the Danielson framework. All the same kind of stuff there is there, but it's much more user friendly for our staff so that they can see it, access it. And it's a simple, it's way more streamlined. In the past, what would happen is I would go in, I would observe, I have to submit it, they would have to go in, they have to read it, they have to acknowledge it, I'd have to go in, I'd have to click it and finalize it. In fact, for 3 different logins to get one thing done. Now it's a Google form, they can see it, I can see it as soon as I walk. I mean, if I'm serving Mr. Polish's room, he walk by a computer, if you happen to have that portal, you see typing in it. So it's pretty straightforward, it's information to them right away. It's feedback right away. Their other goal with that is get rid of the clickiness, make it more important so the staff values what they're actually doing, so that the evaluation process and the goal process, they are creating goals that they actually want to do as teachers. They actually want to get this accomplished for their students, and it's less about the clickiness and the program itself and more about the students and the goals that they have. That's part of the main reason we wanted to streamline this. Yep.
I think like too for me, is that it really is nice because it's all on one doc. We've got that individual teacher's reflection up for us to have fresh in our brains when we're doing our observations. we have their goals right there, both their professional practice goals and their student learning objectives. So we can make sure too, with our observations, not only are we linking it to those specific teaching standards, but we can give feedback and, you know, both positive and constructive criticism on what they can do to better obtain or achieve their goals and the things that they have for themselves as well as for their students. And then we'll have all of it there in the same document. So with that, there's a spot for the teachers then to reflect back, for them to link artifacts or evidence if they want, all right in that one simple document.
One-stop shop.
Yes.
It keeps it, I like what you just said, well, it keeps the target of what we're trying to do right at the forefront in that one document. We all know what we're trying to accomplish. We will roll that out next Wednesday to staff. We'll present and show them the form. I've already shared with a lot of staff, and the reaction I got from one staff member was hallelujah. So I think that's a good thing. Currently with things I'm working on, one of the things we're working on is the DPI, People Non-Discrimination Annual Compliance Report. So that'll get done this month. And as far as we today met with Ms. Lee, and we're just putting some different pieces in place to make it smoother for Ms. Lee for scheduling IEPs, because when you have traveling staff, like we have Ms. Roach, she's here part-time and things like that. It just helps us that we have a better system for helping Carrie to schedule meetings. That's kind of been tricky for her in the years past. I think we've also streamlined that and made it hopefully a little bit easier for her going forward. Want to thank the staff for all their social media posts this month. It's been pretty amazing. We actually got an email from social media themselves, thanking us for the amazing job we've been doing. It's been a lot of fun getting us out there and showing some things we're doing, whether it's eating cupcakes in our office or. And then also again, just thanking the PTO. That's what I got. Any questions, any of that?
First, I do have a card for the board from Willow Polish.
Oh, should read aloud. I don't think it's personal. Dear Fall River School District, thank you for allowing me to represent our school and compete at the National FPLA Conference in Chicago this summer. This is the second time I've had this opportunity, and I will always be grateful our school chooses to support our FPLA chapter at the state and national conferences we are invited to. I was able to connect with many teachers and students from many states and learn about different ways our student body can get involved in FPLA in the local community. I hope I can qualify for nationals again this year in Georgia and continue to bring back what I learned. Thank you for all your support at Fall River FPLA. Willow Polish, FPLA chapter president.
To start, too, I just want to thank Holly Trotter and our student council. They have been working really hard to ensure that our homecoming week has been a success. And I think it has been thus far. We've had a lot of great things happening. The feel in the school is amazing, and there's just a ton of energy. So thanks to them and that group for everything that they've done. I'm going to kind of back up to the beginning of the school year. I just want to give a huge thank you, and I know we did at the last board meeting as well, but to Whitney Wagner for our new teacher day that she put together, and just welcoming all of our new teachers. I know Dennis mentioned it at the other meeting, at the annual meeting, but we've been getting a lot of positive feedback from the staff. Everything from, I'm just gonna read verbatim the email the text message that he was mentioning from one of our new teachers. He said, I just want to say that I've never felt so welcomed and so excited about a school year after the first day before. Everything we did on new teacher in service was so helpful, and the messages you, Mr. Burr and Mr. Barrier presented were exactly what I needed to hear. I literally wrote down in my notes that first morning, I love it here. So it's been a great year. Our culture has been super positive. The first week of in-service, we worked really hard on building that culture and that team. feel with all of our staff. We focused really hard on our grading for learning rollout to make sure everybody was ready. I mean, there was a lot on our teachers' plates that first week. But even as we were working on our strengths and our areas of growth for our own goal setting, I had one of our veteran teachers say to me, today was a great first day back. The entire feel of the day and the feel of the morale is very different. Thank you for all your hard work. So I think not only are our new teachers feeling welcomed and excited to be here, but I think our veteran teachers are noticing just a little bit a better feel and a more positive feel. And it's nice to kind of get back into that energy. Our first week of school back with kids was even better. Just getting the kids back in the building and just feeling that positive culture has been awesome. And with that first week, I also want to make sure to thank Kendra Hayden as well, because she did an amazing job of working with our teachers to make sure that they were set and ready for everything that they needed for that first week with our students. And then I also want to thank Amy Liebenthal because she worked really hard, not only with student schedule, but helping kids get things figured out. I mean, she just was a rock star that first week as well. So she's been doing a lot for our school. They both have, and I just really wanted to thank them. Kind of along those lines to a culture and mental health, we already talked about Tom Farley coming to talk with our students, but we also have a training for our staff on November 4th. We're bringing in Mandy Fralick. I always say her name wrong. She's going to be coming in and she's going to be presenting kind of like a conference style for our professional development with all of our teachers. She's going to open with a keynote specifically about mental health and teacher wellness and those things. And then she's also going to be offering 3, we're calling them breakout sessions, but we're all going to be going to watch her. They're going to be specifically focused on how do we incorporate social emotional learning into our lessons instead of having them be separate pullouts, so that we're really working to bring that cohesiveness of this is life and how things go. It's not just always the content, but how can we be the best people we can be. And then she's also going to be focusing on increasing and making sure we're maintaining both student and adult mental health with our teachers and with all of our staff on that day. So we're super excited about that. One of the other things that I was working on for my goals for this year is trying to increase our course offerings for our students so that we're fitting with their needs. I think I mentioned at the last board meeting that our 2 high careers are business and the medical field. And so we have been working with Nurse Jess to get her certified to be able to teach a course called Health Science Education. And it's going to prepare students for careers related to medicine, nursing, health science, and allied health programs. So basically preparing them for those careers and being able to get them in there. So we've been working really hard to get her set and ready to be able to do that for us in the future. And then also with, I wanted to share my enrollment loss report, the loss report. Unfortunately, at the middle high, we had 6 students coming in, but we had 12 coming out at the end. So 6th grade, we lost 4, 7th grade, we lost 2, 8th grade, we lost 1, 9th was 2, and 10th grade, we lost 3. So one thing though that we noticed is that most of the students either moved and or returned back to their districts where they were living because they were open enrolling in. So it was, I mean, take that for what you will, but that's where most of the students were. And then last, I just really need to thank Ryan because he has been a godsend for me this past 2 months, helping me out, keeping me on my toes, making sure I'm doing everything, you know, the way that it needs to get done. So he's been amazing. So I wanted to thank you for that.
It's been great having Jennifer here also. She's been a great addition. She's on her game. She brings a sense of humor, but then also this, you know, that tenacity to get things done, which I really appreciate. And I think we make a great team.
Great. Thank you very much for your reports.
I do have a question on, I guess, parent communications under the new grading system. Like in the football field, all the parents are talking, nobody knows what dev, pro, 80, like when we get on Google Classroom or what Infinite Campus, it doesn't really explain any of it. Are we thinking about doing anything to just help the parents understand, like, where do I need to engage versus this is on track?
Yeah, so what we were doing, so one of the caveats of using grading for learning or standards-based grading is that until you get stuff put into the grade book, it's hard to explain how it's going to work. So Kendra, Hayden, and I have been working to put together kind of like a booth or an area at parent teacher conferences for parents to be able to come in. Kendra also updated, so that would be another place to go look. On the website, we do have a grading for learning tab there. And then there's a document that is called, it's for frequently asked questions, and it explains everything in a very user-friendly language that I think really helps to explain things. And then I know there's been questions brought up too about how does Infinite Campus calculate a GPA? And Amy Liebenthal has an amazing video, I just sent it to Ryan earlier this week, that explains their concept, they call it power law, and how they factor in the assignments and how when we're learning, generally when we do things over and over and the more we've known how to do it, then we get better at it. So it puts emphasis on the tasks that they're doing to show those standards because they have to have 4 pieces of evidence to support that standard. And so weight gets put on the evidence a little bit differently as they move through it. But those are things that we're going to be sending out for that. So we'll be set up for parent teacher conferences, but please, anybody that has any questions, have them just email me or shoot me a, shoot me a line, give me a call, and I will gladly walk through any of that with whomever is confused or not quite sure. But the website's a great resource.
Is that something that could go on social media?
Oh, absolutely. Yep. Yep. And just to add the social media piece, so I don't know if you guys are aware, and I think Dennis is now aware of how insanely competitive our staff is. And so one of the things that was my goals, from when I shared that with you, is to increase our presence. And so I put my staff, they're on 4 different teams. And the lead for our social media teams, it changes literally by the day because different people are submitting and, I'll poke the bear and send out, Team Fabulous moved up into first place. And all of a sudden it's like, boom, 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 they send some more things out. So, I mean, it's worked really well. I was telling Ryan this weekend that what we might have to do is maybe, do a competition, elementary versus middle high and kind of see how it goes, but.
So I could take bribes is what you're saying.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you very much. District Administrator report.
The 4 sections of my report. The first one is pupil count. And we've heard a little bit about the potential numbers for pupil count, although we haven't finalized anything yet. It's not due till a week from Friday. But it looks like the number of students in the building is up a handful. We have a few more kids here than we had last year. It seems like the increase is mostly in the elementary, as Ryan was sharing. He said there were 6 out, but there's like 22 in. So the elementary seems to be growing, which is good for our future, that those kids stick around and we'll have more kids over the years. But if there is a difference, it may not be in the FTE count, which is the number of kids who live in our district. The increase, it seems to be, is in the open enrollment. That might be where the change that we're going to see is. But by the time we get to the October board meeting, we'll have all the data. We will share more specifically with you. But right now, it looks like a slight increase of number of students in the building, but heavier towards the elementary. This is the season of finance reports for the DPI. There's lots of them being filed, and Ryan mentioned one he's got to do too. I mentioned about safety drills. One of the drills we're trying to add this year that I've done in the past is an evacuation drill. We haven't done one here in a long time. So we met with Chief Van Geisel, and the 4 of us sat down and talked about how we're doing our drills, where we're going, what we're doing, communication with the police. We're trying to get that organized. We're hoping to, in November, have an evacuation drill, and it doesn't necessarily have to be a shooting type thing. It could be many things that cause it. We have to get out of this building for whatever reason, so we have a place to go, and then put in a plan that I've used in the past for, okay, how would you reunify kids to their parents? Because the incidents sometimes are very scary, but also what drives people crazy is I got to wait 3 hours to get my kid. That can't happen. You've got to find a reunification process, and we studied this in the past. And there are procedures to move things along much quicker, to try to hope we never use it, but we should at least have an idea of how it's going to work. So everyone has different duties assigned, so we're going to be practicing some of that. Maybe not the actual reunification of children, but at least the staff would find out, what am I going to do if this happens? So if you have those plans in place ahead of time, it makes it much simpler when it actually, if something ever happens.
And one of the things, guys, we always think of active shooter, but we had a gas leak a couple of years ago where it all ended up at the fire station. If that would have been in the building, because at the time we didn't only assumed it was in the building, that's what the fire station. This is a great reason to do it, because that would be a reason to do the building for another reason.
Yeah. There are other reasons that you leave the building that we don't always talk about, but they're possible. My last topic is the WI board. We've met a couple times now for this season, and there's a bunch of things coming up, and I can give you more details if anyone wants to talk more about it, but a competitive balance proposal is coming forward to the membership about, we've always used enrollment, and actually I work for Baird too, and Baird is the company that they use to get data to say, how does this data compare to success? And they found that there's other factors that actually do contribute to success. And they're putting together a proposal to bring for the board and then bring it all to the membership to see if they want to actually act on something. A lot of things about recruiting athletes, spring sports season, they're trying to see if baseball, softball should be tweaked at all, because last spring was horrible weather and there wasn't much going on outdoors. And the last thing going on is amateur status of high school athletes. If you're familiar with college NILs, name, image, and likeness, it's coming. There are 16 states that currently allow high school athletes NILs, and 11 more that are considering it, which is shocking to me, but I'm a little bit old school. But anyway, just to realize there's lots of things coming, and if you ever want to talk more about those things, I can have those personal conversations.
And October 15th is the big school finance day, right? When we get the final numbers from the state.
We should get the aid. I'm not guaranteeing they'll have it on October 15th. Everything is delayed this year. It started with, there weren't enough auditors to go around. So on the day that the audit reports were due, there are some schools that haven't had an auditor yet. And DPI did have a glitch in their system of what aid to some schools got mixed up. But they think this process is going, and normally I'd have to have the annual fiscal report done by tomorrow, by this Friday. It's due 2 weeks later now. So now we're getting close to October 15th. So I'm not sure that they'll really have it on October 15th.
You have to have our final levy.
We have to do our levy by November 4th or 6th, something like that. But usually the end of October, and we'll have our regular October meeting. And then a week or two later, we'll meet again to certify the levy, because then we'll have all the final pupil count will be in, the state aid will be finished, and anything else that affects the revenue limits will be from the DPI given to us. So we'll have one more meeting to say, here's where things really stand and what aid we're really getting and what tax levy. And we've got to set the tax levy so we can get it to municipalities, so they can figure out our property tax bills.
Can't miss that date.
Oh, no, can't do
We'll be in
that.
trouble.
Yeah, so I can't guarantee it'll happen on October 15th, but that's the date it's supposed to happen for the aid and equalized value.
Big day for us data nerds for school finance, right?
Oh,
All right, with that, we'll take a motion to adjourn.
I'll make the motion to adjourn.
I'll second it.
We have a motion by Nate, second by Guy to adjourn. All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, no.